Gojo dusting himself off. This didn't happen in the anime. It's kind of a cool illustration done for an exhibition. It says big goodwill exhibition. Landscape page. Use a pencil, use an eraser, pause, move fast. We'll start with his eye, right? His head's a bit small. I'll probably zoom in for you. Just up here. Top half of my page will be his head. Okay? Just if you're wondering about scale. So, start with those spiky eyelashes, right? So we'll go... basically 2 little spikes. And then it comes across this. And then we start to get like more little spikes. Now they're very thin, you know, so it's kind of tricky to draw them. But we'll get in as much as we can. Do, 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 do. Right, kind of like that. And then the bottom eyelid line. So kind of goes underneath his hair, but if I was to imagine, I would say here. And I'll just darken this up maybe a bit. Right, and then they have, you know, his hair comes down here, so you can't really see much here, but we got like eyelashes just sort of sticking out there. Right, and then his blue iris. Here. And then pupil just there. And then we got an eyelid line just underneath the eyebrow, kind of here. And then the eyebrow itself. Like a little sort of spike, and then gets thinner as it goes back. Right, so the other eye is obscured by hair. We can see like a bit of his nose line there. You can't see the other eye. And then his nostrils just sort of drawn in like this. And then his mouth kind of downturned. Like that. And then the bottom lip is actually drawn in as well. Slightly open. And then we can see his bottom lip where it meets the chin, just there as well. And then the square chin, like so. So he's got lots of fringe and stuff, but we'll just get the jaw in. So like in terms of proportion, right? The eye to the nose is about the same as nose to the chin. So the pupil to the nose, about the same as there. And then nose to bottom lip, about the same as bottom lip, chin. Okay, roughly. And then we go for the jaw, or the face shape. And the jaw in this case turns at nose level because his head is kind of tilted forward. So about the level of his nose, and like say underneath his eyelash there, you want to turn, and it'll go like sharply kind of up. Right, and same kind of this way. Alrighty. And then he's all about the hair. So his fringe nearly completely obscures his eye on this side and some of his face over here. And we got his ear in there somewhere, but so say we got like a hair spike this way. And then one that comes down over his eye here. And then it looks like there's like one underneath these. And of course, anything you draw over, you erase. Unless you want to do it, like some animes actually leave that in, you know, that when they draw over an eye. It's probably just faster. It's like a cluster of 3 or 4 of them here. 4, I'd say, over his ear. Okay, and then we'll go across his face. Right, like that. Spiking, curved spikes. Or attempting to curve them at least. As spiky as we can get them. So this comes like right over his eye. Wait, yeah, I'm right. And then you could maybe see like his bottom eyelid line in between some of these. There's like another hairline here. Right, that one kind of sticks out, and there's like 2 in between that one. Right, we can just maybe see a bit of his eye in under here. like in this gap somewhere. Like so. So that's basically the fringe, right? So then his ear sort of is in under this. We got like one hair spike there, so the ear. Down like that, and the other ear about here. Goes underneath the hair there. Okay, so rest of his hair spikes. So we'll just keep going. So pick a side and just start spiking around, basically. Very large spiky hair. What is that? So that goes that way. And then there's one here. A kind of connector line. Kind of changes direction then. Going all the way down this way now. Some hairlines maybe overlapping, just textures kind of in on the head. All right, and then some ear lines actually in here as well, and a bit of a hair spike behind the ears. And then his neck, so he's kind of like leaning forward, right? So his neck kind of curves this way into his collar. There's neck muscles in there. And then his collar here. So this seems to have an edge to it that goes right close to his chin. Right, and there's a hand that comes over this shoulder. So just like get the collar in here maybe. I'll deal with the hand then. So this like, you know, fold lines and stuff that come all around here. So I'll do, so this arm comes down and then up, and then the other arm is kind of basic, goes that way. This is the tricky part. So I'll just get all this, his shoulder coming out there first. A male's shoulders is about the width of his face kind of, but he's kind of leaning forward there. But roughly that will give you maybe the width of his head, how far out to go. Just male characters are 3 heads across on their shoulders, females 2.5. Depends, but usually. And then this comes down. All these folding lines for the arm here, because it bends at the elbow and it's loose fitting clothing, so it's all these bumps and folds and all that kind of good stuff. So the arm just comes up to the sleeve, down that way. And then we get a hand. So hands are never easy. Jujutsu Kaisen Mappa people are very good at hands. Like, how can an animation studio be better than another animation studio has? They are. Mappa are good at hands. Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan, you know they're good when their hands are good. So we go, starting, it's kind of like he's flicking off the dirt off the shoulder. So it's tricky because it's a unique hand position that I don't think I've ever drawn this. Like, we've drawn lots of hands, but so we're just carving out for the knuckle of the thumb. That's this one, right? There's 2 on your thumb where it joins the hand, then that one. So it kind of curves up and down. And then it goes up and down again, right? So for his thumb. And then it goes around the tippy top. Then down to there, okay? So it's not, it's not the easiest thing in the world. Now this hip pause. And then, so his thumbnail. And then his hand lines kind of like here. So then we get the index finger. So we first have the knuckle that joins the hand. So up and down again. And then up and down again. And then a shallower up and down. So it's all these bumps, right? And then you get the tip of the finger. So your finger has 3 segments. 1, 2, 3. At each bend opposite, there is a knuckle. Okay. Like a slightly longer hand line. There's like knuckle lines and fingernails. See? So there's 2 fingers clustered together. So we go again, up, down, and up, down. So like 3 segments, 1, 2, 3. And this one comes around here. And these 2 fingers are touching. So there's no underneath for this finger. It basically is the next finger. Up, down, up, and around. Now we can see the base of this one. So 1 segment, 2, 3. Okay. Challenging. We got knuckle lines and fingernails. Knuckle lines, fingernails. And then there's knuckles on the hand, but we'll just get the pinky in first. Up, down, up, down, up. So it's like waves or something. And then around. And you get curving base of the finger segments. And then the hand back into the wrist. And now I'll just add some bones on his hands, the knuckles, drawn roughly like that. Fingernail on the pinky. Like so, and his other shoulder being the one he's dusting off, just in between the fingers. Down that way. And his armpits probably like in here. We got like a side body. And then like just his arm going down that way. All right. Maybe a bit of dust here. Why not? It's not in the illustration, but that's kind of funny that he is literally dust on his shoulder. Okay. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.